Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and this is another episode of Ridiculous Loadout. As you may already know, this is a series I started way back when in the Battlefield 3 days, basically whoring myself out for cheap views, running a suggested loadout from one of you in the comments section. Now, mostly, this is a not so tactical series where most of the loadouts are either troll or bad or just plain ugly looking. Really, I get a chance to try out a kit, a combination that I haven't thought of before, and maybe have good results with it. Mostly not though. So, today's suggestion comes from a Will Schobert who suggests I run the infamous Famas with a 4x sight, and as you can see I chose the ACOG because, well, that's all I had, and no other attachments. Also, the 44 Magnum, the 320 Dart, the Madbox, and Duckweed or Alligator Camo, which obviously is quite nice. Now, this recording being made the day after the fall patch came down on us because, well, I timed it that way. It was admittedly a bit easier to run as, many things, many game mechanics have been changed. Most notably for this particular loadout, the visual recoil fix that affects the ACOG among other things, and, other scopes and sights of smaller magnification. I mean, now that the reticle stays glued to the center of the screen and doesn't bounce around like it's on meth, it's much easier to shoot people and predict the recoil. Although the best change that happened to Battlefield 4 overall in this fall patch, I think, just has to be the high frequency network update, and while other changes weren't bad either, I think this one makes by far the most difference. But more on that in a second, as I'll show you another problem that Battlefield 4 still has with hit registration. But for now, enjoy the loadout and some primo noob stomping that I dished out with the Famas and the 320 Dart, as it was just a ton of fun to use. Especially shooting the Famas and getting, double or even triple through and through kills, which actually happened to me once, notwithstanding its smaller magazine size. I got 3 kills at once. I gotta note the new hit markers though, that which are also a bit nicer, that they actually go more bold or thick when you do more damage to an enemy. But the 320 Dart is also a ton of fun to use as it's super deadly up close. Although it does, seem to suffer from, as all shotguns seem to do in Battlefield 4, from hit detection issues that sometimes prevent me from getting that one hit kill up close that obviously, should have been a kill. Also, as you may know by now, as DICE is trying to combat grenade spam, they severely nerfed the resupply times and the carry capacity of all launcher and grenades, and the 320 Dart included. So now you only get a couple of shots with it, I believe. So unless you plan, to stand for many seconds over an ammo box like an idiot, you should definitely make sure you aim well before popping off that dart gun. And obviously, the long reload time of the 320 has makes it kind of a one-shot weapon at best. I gotta say though, the 44 Magnum is just a lot of fun to use, especially now that DICE says that it's removed all trigger delay from revolvers. Although I do have to say that the 44 still does feel a little bit like it has a tiny bit of a trigger delay. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Either it's, I'm just accustomed or it's actually there. But whatever. Oh, and speaking of grenade spam, as it was one of the things that the all-encompassing patch focused on, DICE supposedly fixed it by nerfing the resupply times of grenades pretty badly, but it seemed to not work very well, as I just came back from a round on Operation Clusterfuck, and the whole thing was just, you know, lit up like a Christmas tree, especially that little stairway leading to the infirmary. I mean, everyone and their uncle seemed to be throwing something explosive at us, so really the grenade spam is still there. And as I said in another video, there were many more inventive ways and interesting ways to solve it. I think what DICE did, I just don't think it worked. There should have been better way to approach this, but whatever. No one's really asking my opinion here. So to get back to the loadout here, and the Famas in particular, it's a gun that's no FPS game could go without. I mean, some people love it, others hate it, but whatever side of the discussion you're on, I'm sure you'll have an opinion on it as well. So in real life, the Famas is a French assault rifle. I know, right? But in all seriousness, this thing is intense, putting down a staggering 1,000 rounds per minute rate of fire. In Battlefield 4, though, its stats are very close to its Battlefield 3 counterpart. It does a maximum damage of 24 at 8 meters, which drops off to 18 at 55 meters. Now, thankfully, the Famas maximum damage is under 25, so it didn't seem to suffer that one damage nerf in the fall patch. In fact, if anything, its suppressed muzzle velocity saw a small buff, 30 meters per second, I believe, but no matter, because right now it isn't suppressed. And like its real-life counterpart, it puts down a mind-numbing 1000 RPM rate of fire and does it from a smaller than usual magazine of 25 rounds. There are a couple of these super fast rate of fire weapons in Battlefield 4, as you know. And also, as you may know, DICE tried to nerf these in a proposed CTE patch a while ago. What they did was they took the Famas, the Scorpion, and I forget some other weapon that I believe had 1000 RPM rate of fire, and nerfed its rate of fire to something like 950 or 900 RPM. I forget the exact number. And they also gave it, the Famas, I mean, a standard magazine of 30 rounds. More or less taking the Famas, taking from the Famas everything that made it unique. They made it more controllable, yes, but that's why people, love to hate the Famas. It's very unique. Its magazine is so small, you'll blow through it before you even realize that you clicked the mouse. And its vertical recoil coupled with its rate of fire made it a hard weapon to master. But DICE being DICE, of course, they took to fixing what wasn't broken and nerfed it, effectively making it an AK clone in CTE. Now, thankfully, the public showed so much outrage at this that they rolled back this fix and, let us have the regular Famas back as just as the great big developer in the sky intended it. But here's why I think they did it. I read at least that it was rumored that such a high rate of fire weapon glitched in Battlefield 4 hit detection, and it already being quite broken, it made for some one-hit kills where obviously they shouldn't have been. And this experiment, which I suspect shows a related or even this particular issue with the Battlefield 4 hit detection, was shown very well by Chris of Battle Nonsense, and I'll repeat it for you right now. And I'll link to his channel below because you should definitely check him out. He's got some great video commentaries on Battlefield 4 and some very cool ideas about fixing the game, which DICE should definitely, take a look at. So basically what we're talking about here, to show it to you very clearly, I volunteered my brother as a test Muppet. I'll also link to his channel below, so please subscribe to him. He also aspires to be a big YouTuber, and he makes some cool animations. Alright, so basically after passing selection, he got the distinguished job of getting shot in the nuts. No, I'm just kidding, he didn't pass selection. But anyway, what we did was we both went to an empty server we found that had the lowest ping we could find, 14 I think, and I turned on the network graph overlay in the console. Then I took the Famas and shot him 4 times exactly. First in semi-auto, then in full auto mode. Now, I know it was 4 shots exactly because I shot out the rest of the magazine into the ground beforehand. Now, while I'm shooting him, you can see certain data come up on the network graph overlay, and here's what it means. The blue dots represent my rounds fired, that count off my magazine spent. The green dots represent the client side hit detection, so the hits that he has confirmed, that were confirmed by his game as hit detection in Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3's client side. And the red dots are server confirmations of those shots. With me so far? Okay, now watch what happens when I shoot semi-automatic rate of fire 4 rounds into him. You get 4 blue dots, 4 green dots, and 4 red. All is well with the world, and works as exactly as it was supposed to be. Now, watch what happens on full auto, same 4 rounds. As I shoot into him, I see 4 blue dots, 4 green dots, but only 3 red dots. Actually, once I even saw 2 red dots on the graph. There are 4 shots, mind you, so what is happening here? Well, you see the server shows to confirm only some of the hits, supposedly, right? But my brother actually experienced all the damage from all the shots, meaning the 3 packets that the server received, the 3 red dots, and confirmed must have contained all 4 shots. So one of these packets contains damage for more than 1 shot, right? So basically what this works out to is the server sending 2 damage hits to the other player at the same time as the previous damage, and making him think that it's been an instant in some cases, and resulting in insta kills because it's 2 damage hits in 1 shot, basically in 1 packet. So they basically arrive at the same time, the 2 damage models. Now this issue seems not to be limited to the Famas. In fact, it seems to be not limited to any weapon at all. And also note that this was done in with a pretty good connection. I mean, I have 0 packet loss and 1 or 0 packets in queue. So my connection was pretty good that day. And obviously I don't know if this is the reason for the attempted Famas nerf, but it would make sense, wouldn't it? So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and now because I don't feel like suffering alone, Will Schubert must also run this loadout and upload it to YouTube, and I'll accept the link down below in the comments section. So thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one, and remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.